But now switching to boxing, and it's been sold as the one. All attention on Floyd Mayweather Jr and Canelo Alvarez. It's a fight of enormous magnitude in Las Vegas tomorrow, and to talk more about it, we're joined by boxing commentator Paul Upham. Paul, good to have you in. Just how big is this fight?
Oh, it's a Super Bowl of boxing, Alana. We've got Floyd Money Mayweather, the #1 fighter in the world today, undefeated, 44-0. 8-time world champion, 5-division world champion against the Mexican rising star, 23-year-old Alvarez. He's undefeated as well, so somebody's unless they have a draw, is going to go tomorrow. And it is the biggest money fight of all time, because Money Mayweather is going to get it guaranteed at least $41.5 million US, but he could end up with something like $60 million depending on the pay-per-view sales. Yeah,
he's not called money for nothing. Talk us through some of the other stats that go with a fight of this size.
Well, they made $19 million from the live gate alone, and they're talking about pay-per-view sales of something like $200 million in the US. That doesn't take into account what's happening around the world. And one of the promoters, Richard Schaefer from Golden Boy, announced to the media yesterday that the pay-per-view sales record in Australia has already been broken. That would be the Mundine Green record. So that just shows you what a huge fight it is just here in Australia. People want to see Money Mayweather, whether you love him or you hate him, because he's got that bad boy persona, but the guy can fight pound for pound, a true great. We're going to look back. He'll probably get more recognition once he retires.
Yeah, huge interest around the world, and that was particularly evident at the weigh-in. 12,000 people there just for that. Now, Alvarez weighed in slightly heavier, and he would generally fight at a heavier weight than Mayweather. How did the two match up?
Right, well, Alvarez is a bigger fighter, and he actually had to come down 2 pounds in weight. He's normally a junior middleweight, 154, and through the negotiations, because Floyd's actually a smaller guy, we've got to give Floyd Mayweather credit, because he's fighting a younger guy, a bigger guy. Alvarez is probably going to put something like about 14, 15 pounds on overnight, which is quite a significance. And Mayweather is 36. There's a big age difference there. So no one can say that Mayweather isn't taking on the challenge. He's the best available guy out there now. He's undefeated, he's young, he's strong, and you see it the way in those abdominals look fantastic at 152 pounds. What a body. Yeah, great body on Alvarez. And Mexican with a red hair. He's quite unusual, Canelo, and they just love him. And yeah, they're turning people away today from the away at the MGM Grand. Huge population there to see, and there's 27,000 closed circuit tickets have been sold in Las Vegas alone. So huge fight, biggest fight of the year. If you're going to get a pay-per-view this year on Main Event, get this one tomorrow, because you will not be disappointed regardless of the result.
Yeah, big test for both fighters. As you say, Mayweather, 36. He had some problems with his hand in his last fight. Where's that at?
Well, that's the key point. We saw in the All Access series, which you can watch the replays on Main Event. They're replaying, there's 4 parts onto them. He broke his hand in his last fight. He did have hand problems early in his career, and at 36, that's the question mark now. I've always said at 35, only great fighters do great things over the age of 35. He's 36. Is that hand, if Alvarez can really rough him up and maybe damage that hand, that's how he's going to take advantage of Floyd. Otherwise, if he just gives Floyd distance, Floyd's just going to outbox him and win over the 12-round distance. You know, Alvarez needs to learn that knockout money punch and knock Mayweather out. Otherwise, it's going to be a pretty easy night for Mayweather.
Just quickly, what's your feeling on how it will play out?
I'd say, unless there's a KO punch, I'd say Mayweather's going to win this on points and show once again that he's pound for pound #1 in the world and one of the truly great fighters of any era.
All right, a huge fight, as you say, tomorrow on pay-per-view and Main Event. Now, of course, let's talk about Daniel Gill. Unfortunately, he lost on points to Darren Barker in Atlantic City last month. Where does this leave him, and what's next for the pair?
Well, it's the contracts and business of boxing. He will get a rematch. Barker has to fight the mandatory, which is the German Felix Sturm. Then if he wins that, then he's got to give Daniel Gill a rematch. It will happen. Barker's now promoted by Daniel Gill's promoter, Gary Shaw. So, look, it was a great fight. He knocked him down on round 6, couldn't finish him off. Look, he didn't lose to a bad guy. You know, Barker has showed a lot of toughness and heart to win that fight. And I thought it was a fantastic match. We want to see the rematch, so that will happen. And look, fingers crossed Daniel Gill can come back and win that world title again.
And another Aussie boxer that we should be talking about, Anthony Mundine, busy in preparation for Mosley on the 23rd of October, the fight to take place here in Sydney. How do you think he shapes up for this one? And I know that you've compared it in the past to Danny Green and Roy Jones Jr. We know how that one ended up. Can you see a similar situation?
Well, Shane Mosley was pound for pound #1, great fighter. People are saying he's old, 42, but don't forget, Anthony Mundine is 38 years of age. I think it's really well matched up. It's going to be a competitive fight. Shane Mosley, yes, he lost to Floyd Mayweather. Yes, he lost to Manny Pacquiao, but they're two of the best fighters in the world. Anthony Mundine wants to get that win over a huge name and try and get that big world title fight to end his career. But I think it's a fantastic matchup. And congratulations to Anthony Mundine for making the fight. Not easy to get Shane Mosley to come and fight in Australia. Great treat for the Australian boxing fans. What a night it's going to be in October. Can't wait. Yeah,
a lot to look forward to for boxing fans, both tomorrow and then, of course, as you say, between Anthony Mundine and Sugar Shane. Paul, thanks for coming in.
Great to be here, Lana.